Good morning. We're back. Had to find a quieter place. I was out taking care of some business, and I thought I'll do the class out on the patio. And they come out on the patio and start talking. But it's good to switch up from the traditional classroom. And for me, I needed some fresh air and some sunlight this morning. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. But I decided to come on in because you deserve to hear everything I'm saying. And I'm ready to just restart and reboot. And as I was moving, my Zoom cut off. So we're back. And we have Miss Green with us. So Miss Green, Rosalind and Miss Green, how y'all doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So I'm going to prepare to go back into our shared screen. And Miss Green, what I've started doing is recording the sessions. And so we'll always build our library, and you guys could go over to YouTube and be able to pull up the different sessions as review. So not only are we have our instructor portal on Facebook, our private group, we're also going to have some YouTubes where we could share the chapters as well. So let's looking back into chapter 1. And as we reboot, and this is it's a new journey for Miss Rosalind, but as we begin to reboot, I'm excited to have you guys think of the next level. I had a lot of inquiries about the program, and so I love to share and I love to teach teachers. And so, but this program, this particular chapter just really gets you ready and say, is this what I really want? Am I really ready to do this? Because it's going to require some dedication. It's going to require some passion. It's going to require some work. And at the same time, it may be building. When I say career building, you may move from instructor over to director, and possibly one day say, hey, I think I want my own school. All of that is possible, but most of the time it does start here. So the career education instructor. And so when we look at teaching, it says it's an intellectual experience that demands the ability to invent, adapt, and create new techniques and procedures to meet the changing demands of learners. We are absolutely right now in 2024 in this era of teaching right now. And I think Miss Rosalind, we discussed about teaching. Do we have to know this? Do we have to know that? And as a cosmetologist, which covers all parts of beauty, but barbering, and beards and shaves of the face and things of that nature. Yes, your cosmetology license is going to trump. Once you become an instructor, it's going to trump all other licenses, okay? So that means you'll be able to teach, and you'll be more valuable to any institution, because the cosmetology, you can teach manicuring, you can teach lashes, you can teach skincare, you can teach hair, okay? So all of those, and you can teach the teachers. And so all of those comes under the component of cosmetology. Now, based on what school you decide to go and work at, whatever career opportunity you may have, you may say, I'm comfortable in hair, but there's always going to be a chance where there's going to be somebody needed in a different area. From nails to skincare, I have taught nails, I've taught skincare, I've taught everything you could think of. No, at the time, I was not an expert in much. My expert was in hair and extensions. I was not an expert in skincare. I was not an expert in nails, but I knew enough. And so what happens is that, okay, I want to be great in these areas and match it just like I am in the hair area of beauty. So I did invest in myself and take continuing education classes, go to shows, go to seminars that and I remember distinctly saying, okay, I'm going to the show, but what I want to do, I want to take all skincare classes. I've done all hair for years. I want to take all skincare classes. Then I say I'll take all nail classes at another show. And what that was doing, didn't even know. Soon after, I would probably be placed in one of those areas. And so it's just continuing education. Don't get stuck in one place. Just kind of make sure, even as the students go through their textbooks, that you keep a textbook as well. And I always try to be at least 1 to 2 chapters ahead of my students as far as lesson planning and building information and searching for information. And I had a student say something last night. She said, love it here. She said, I love it here. We learn something new every night, every day. And that's the goal. That was the goal. I could have jumped up out of my seat. I could have jumped up out of my seat and was like, that's it. That's the whole reason why we're here. Because you gonna come to school, she's gonna come to school knowing that she's gonna learn something new every day. That should be our absolute goal. Okay. So although in skincare we do a lot of facials, but I'm determined every day they come to learn something new. Let me tell you what we did last night, and we'll pick it up again on Wednesday. We I did not look for them. They were supposed to bring a strawberry and a kiwi. They said that some of their strawberries didn't make it, and the kiwi they kind of ate it. So I already knew. I made sure we had the supplies. Even though they were supposed to bring it, I made sure we had the supplies. Sometimes, you guys, you gotta make sure if you're gonna do a project or you're gonna introduce something, that even though you may say you bring this and you bring that, we are still responsible for the lesson going forward. And so if it's anything that's needed, you have to sometimes say, okay, just in case they don't bring it, let me just think ahead. So I went and got some strawberries and I went and got some kiwi. And I knew we were going to need towels. I knew we were going to need face oil. I knew facial oil. And I knew we were going to need the derma blades, the little razors, kind of like what you do the eyebrow arch with, but those are the protected ones that Tennessee allows us to use instead of the derma blading, the derma planing utensil, which is a bare blade. And so we're not able to use that per our state law. And I knew they were going to need extractor tools, okay? And so how we did the presentation, didn't watch a video. I wanted them to hear my voice. And as I demoed, they also started to do it. But the key point I wanted to share with them is being careful, training their eye, not moving so fast, okay? And so we'll pick it back up on Wednesday and them noticing some things that, hey, my eye may be a little heavy-handed. I tore this strawberry up. And the strawberry has seeds, so they were supposed to do some extracting. And so that just helps along the way, just building their skills. So they're supposed to, last night, their homework was take home a strawberry and take home a kiwi, and I needed them to practice. And I'm excited to see what they come back in here on Wednesday with, Miss Rosalind. If you come in on Wednesday, I'm excited to see what they come back in Wednesday, how their pressure and how they handle and what that strawberry looks like. So just excited, just
Right.
excited about them.
So
And
none of them, bringing it like you had.
I had one. I had one, and then she had it in the bag. She said, "Some of these strawberries didn't make it because I was at work." And I guess it was a snack or something.
Yeah.
But I was like, I knew it. That's why I brought it. And it was all good because the lesson needed to be done. I didn't want anything to halt the lesson. So
And I'm taking lessons in case I encounter these too. So to know what to do for my class, because that's my goal. Actually, I don't actually want to go work for nobody. My main focus was I was gonna step out and just open the school, but I didn't realize
Mm-hmm.
that I needed a licensed instructor. So when I got into the logistics of it. And they were like, okay, well, it's fine. You can go ahead and get everything ready, but you're not actually gonna be able to open until you have a licensed instructor.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
well, okay, well, let me get licensed then. So I guess my
And at
overall
least your
thing,
first couple of months, you will be the teacher.
right? That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, right? I was like, well, I don't want to have to wait on nobody and have to get teaching together. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know no licensed teacher that I could have just say, hey, come and do this for me so I can open, and then I get everything else together. You know.
Right. I mean, you're in the right place at the right time.
Right. It was divine intervention. I keep telling everybody that. And then just to make stuff even more 360, my best friend used to work for you at one of your shops. Precious. She was like, I know Destiny. She is so sweet.
What's her name?
Precious Gray.
Okay. Oh yeah. Nails.
Uh-huh. Now,
Oh
sure.
my goodness. She's the bomb.
Yeah.
She's adorable. I tell her I want to be like her when I grow up.
Yep.
She's so sweet. She is. She worked in our downtown salon.
Right.
Man.
Telling me I didn't know that that's who you were, but I remember working at the salon.
Wow, wow, wow. It's a small world.
I know. Actually, she's the one that I was telling you about, the walking outside stuff, the earthy one.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, now you can match it up with. You know how she.
I can see, yeah, I can see her. So we're gonna be outside more often too. Well, this morning I needed some outside. I needed some sunlight.
Right. The natural.
Yes. Yeah, just to recharge a little bit. But y'all, let me tell you, we are here, and the reason why I have to do something hands-on. The students are getting younger, and what they probably should have been taught or things that should have been discovered in high school, they're not being discovered. So it almost is like this, they're passing by, just to get on out of there. But then when they go to a post-secondary school, diploma career school or tech school or college, then the things that we see are almost like barriers. No one has, I know they've been noticeable before now.
Yeah.
And so what's been foreign is, okay, me asking you questions and you explaining it to me. And you can't cheat that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a student that said she cheated all the way through high school.
Mm.
And you can't cheat beauty school because I need to see you do it. I
Yeah.
need to see you tell me about it, and you get to see who's. So either you're gonna learn it, or you're gonna fall by the wayside. But you cannot cheat this. But because I know there's different learning personalities in the classroom, people learn differently. I gotta be able to take that one lesson and teach it 3 to 4 different ways, so everybody would get something. So yeah, I have experience being so comfortable in a place, and then I come in one morning and say, well, we need you in the skincare class. I was like, what? Attitude came up quick because I was not, I knew it, but I was in my comfortable place. And sometimes the push is us getting out of our comfortable place. And so just going in and teaching that. And sometimes we're used to teaching a certain kind of student. Then we get a new group, and this is like, oh my goodness, where did these personalities come from? But guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We still got to teach them.
Yeah.
Still got to teach them. And then how do you bring the class around? You knowing your stuff. You're being what they call the teacher, the professor. When I go to Puerto Rico, they say professor.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over there one time to do continuing education classes. And every time I come back, they said the professor, the professor. And I was like, who y'all talking about? But they honor the people, that they honor the teachers, they honor the people who freely give information. And this is also what your students would do. So last night, hearing her say, we learn something new every night, that did something to me, because it felt like goal accomplished, felt like mission accomplished, because that was the goal.
Right.
Them being 19 to 40 and 21 to 30, you got a lot of different ages up in there. And so everybody learns something differently. And I don't want to be racing against technology. I don't want to ignore that they can just pull something up on social media, YouTube, anywhere, and they can learn how to do this and learn how to do that. Now, as an educator, we got to get in the same stride, if not further than them, because we have to bring something new to the table every day. So, yes, I'm on TikTok. Yes, I'm on IG. Yes, I'm on Facebook. Most of our students come from Facebook referrals. And so no longer is the time, and I've said this plenty of time, where you could be the most popular or the best, whether you do hair, barbering, or you have a school. No one cares if you're the best. You can't rely on people to just walk in anymore. You have to go where your audience is. And if my consumers, my buyers, my audience is on Facebook, I'm going to put my face, I'm going to place my business in that platform. And this is what I've always stated, that Facebook introduces your brand to people, to many friends. They call it friends and followers. Facebook introduces it. IG is where your brand can live. You set it there. You don't have to commentate with a whole lot of people. You just drop your photos, drop your videos. That's IG. But then when you want to teach something, it's known now that you go over to TikTok when you want to learn. And so we have 10-year-olds that are receiving information that you usually would not get until they're 20, 25 years old. So progressively, everybody is moving. The brain is always shifting and receiving new information. And if us as instructors stay in the same place, we're going to miss the boat. We're going to miss it. So we got to get into technology. And here's the last thing I'm going to share before we move to the next slide. I was looking to hire an instructor. And I said the key component is they got to be technology savvy. I mean, I can do everything else. You got to be open to using technology. And when I tell you, it was a room, it was maybe 30 educators, and they was like, oh, I want to come, I want to come, I want to come. And when I laid down the rule that they got to be open to technology, no hands went up. They were scared of technology. And those individuals, I don't know where they are. I don't know where they
licensed?
Huh?
They get licensed?
Yeah, they were licensed. But they were like older teachers. They were seasoned teachers. But they were so used to the pre-COVID. And they were so used to, not using the computer for anything, but putting in grades, so. And then education evolves. Then you have the pandemic and you have post-pandemic. And we really learn how to do everything paperless, So I'm never going back after that, So I have to have someone who is compatible with our learning style. And if the students are coming in just smarter, I mean, just all kind of technology savvy, that means the educator has to catch up. Yeah. If not, that student is going to get bored and they're going to say we're behind. And so we got to catch up right along with them. So that's always my spiel. And that's what I contribute to the adapting and then inventing. Sometimes the way we got to go We haven't even seen it yet. We can't even follow anybody because we're the ones supposed to create the path. And that's what I've done with the hybrid online and having a flexibility with apprenticeship is once you know the rules, it's pretty much how now does it fit me? I don't care what it does for anyone else, but how does it fit me, my school, my students, and you roll from there. So a lot of things haven't even been discovered. They're just waiting on you to get into it. Um, and the changing demands of learners. Well, at graduation, Zoe spoke at graduation. Zoe came to me at 17 years old, at 16 years old. Zoe had completed high school at 16. Mm. And the next thing, she came straight here. I do have parents that send their kids straight here, you know, and it's an honor, but we have to catch up with it. Yeah. So if she's 16, already finished high school, she's not looking at playing any games. Her people already are her career focus. And so by 17, she was finished with the program, left school. 2 weeks later, she was licensed. You know, so she has a whole suite. Her mom, it was a great plan. They're in preparation to get her, you know, to bring her into the family business, the beauty business. And I just kudos to them because they had a plan. And there's a lot of people out there have a plan. I have a student now, she's a senior. She's been with us since 10th grade, no, 11th grade, and part-time. And so now she's prepping for her cosmetology exam. And she's going to move straight on into licensure. When she moves into her dorm, she'll also have some, if she wants to do something part-time, she can. Mm-hmm. And so I find that my student base is getting younger and younger and younger. And so because the Tennessee qualifications is at 16 and completed the 10th grade, not high school graduate. And so I love it when they're young and when they come in because they're getting out the way and they have so much else before them. So just imagine if Zoe is 17 and she's already licensed. With Tennessee, you got to hold that license for 3 years before you come back to be an educator. By 2021, she's a licensed instructor. You know? So it's just, it's a lot. You have to really see the curve and what's going on, and you got to meet them there. So as teachers are often licensed to practice certain disciplines, they may have public speaking experience. And with I would say some individuals becoming a platform artist, or if you ever love showing people how to do stuff, those are great qualities. And for me, I had dreams of becoming a platform artist and teaching every day. How I stayed in the classroom, I said, I'm practicing. I'm getting hands-on. I'm getting on-the-job training. I'm practicing because I always wanted to be a platform artist. And 1 year, I got my opportunity. And guess what? Those maybe 10 years, it was just years and years, maybe 8 or 9 years at that point. Those years of practice in the classroom showed up on stage. Where I was able to grab attention, make sure my words came out clearly. I was able to teach and do at the same time. And so because I was used to schedules and things of that nature, so I absolutely feel like if your goal is to move more into working with companies and doing different kind of speaking on different stages, this is definitely one of those foundations. A couple of things that also helped me, I compartmentalized. I never was a talkative kid, but one day I said, hey, I'm not going to let my past, or I'm not going to let this opportunity pass me by. So if I do it, Lord, I do it. And so how scary I was, I still got up. I still went into that classroom and I still taught. When we went on break, I did deep breaths like, whew, okay. I had to pump myself up. And there was a couple of years I had to do that because I was never a talker.
Mm.
I just believe when your parents said be quiet and shut up, you just didn't say a word. And so I never was that type of person. And at the end of the day, all of the training that I did in the classroom, it just helped me move my career forward. And I ended up back, never really left the classroom, just ended up on the other side is the school ownership. And so that's always been amazing. So if you're looking to move to the next level, think about what you're good at and bring that into the classroom. And it's always what calls evolving. It, you will evolve as a person, your skill set as a teacher. And it's not all about all the information, because I know a lot of people that are some great hairdressers, but they don't know how to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to respectfully grab their attention. They can't talk to you without cursing. I even know someone that can't talk to you without putting you down. And I mean, those type of classrooms don't last long. So I'm always honing my craft. And what helped me, there's something called Toastmasters, where it teaches you how to become a speaker. Steve Jobs, I watched a lot of his Apple presentations, the Steve Jobs, and I admired how he freely introduced information that had people on the edge of the seats. And he was very plain. He was the most informative man in the room, but he was plain Jane.
Mm.
So I admired that about him, how and I still walk the room when I teach and I use my hands, because it's pretty much what I've learned. And I did a comedy improv. And so they're free a lot of times. Just go to a comedy house, and the comedy improv was pretty much them giving you, skits, and you would have to play it out. But what that did, it allowed me to come out of my shell, laugh a little bit, and be free to speak. And so, and then of course, when I worked for, and I still do platform artistry work for KISS. I don't know about dancing on a stage, but I still do platform artistry work. And I take the classroom to the stage with me all the time. And when I go back to the classroom, I bring the stage to the front of the classroom. And so students love it because they see you in another element, and they know that you're bringing something new and something fresh. And affirmations was the last thing that I did, which was look in the mirror or driving or whatever, and I just speak truth and life about what I wanted, and clearly say my name and where I was from. Because when I started, I'm from Memphis, and I guess sometimes Memphis gets known for this crazy drawl, this long drawl that we have. But what I be seeing in movies, that's not how Memphis people talk.
No.
Yeah. And when I go to, just say I have to go to New York, and there's a contract, everything's good, we're about to seal the deal, I got to sign, I have to put myself forward and speak clearly, speak up, because people from other areas, because of what they've stereotyped about the South or Memphis, they will automatically think you're unable to do something. And so I get a lot, where are you from again? Why? Because they try to characterize you from geographic locations. So I tell them from Memphis, I did not know you were from Memphis. I am from Memphis. You could be from a place, and I'm proud Memphian. You could be from a place, but don't put me in a category, because now you're gonna let the beast come out. Now I'm gonna come out because you already kind of shot me down. So now I gotta show you. And when I was on that stage, and everybody else were from places like New York, Atlanta, and a lot of other places, And I was just from Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I had to work so much harder to get the job because I was not from, I had to beat the stereotype that they already had, you know? So sometimes it just makes you better. It just makes you better. And I think you're coming into cosmetology and coming into the beauty side and wanting to have a school that is absolutely amazing. And it's everything you have that you ever done is when you're gonna use it. And so that's teaching. Okay. And so if we have to get some public speaking tips all the time, that's what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we said we're just going to do a few slides of this one. The profile of a master educator, dependability and flexibility. Can they depend on you? Your students need to be able to depend on you. And can you be flexible? Your coworkers need to be able to depend on you. Okay. Cooperation and teamwork. Man, cooperation. Okay. And teamwork. We work together and make this happen. Initiative and ability to work independently. You're not always going to have a buddy, but can the job be done if you're the Lone Ranger? Patience and self control. I tell my instructors this, and I also tell the instructor students who are coming through the program. If you wear your feelings on your sleeve, you ain't gonna make it. It's gonna be so hard for you. If you're easily offended, it's gonna be so hard for you. Okay. We gotta understand that people are coming in. Yes, people cannot disrespect you. Okay. But I had an instructor, and our policy has been, in the building as far as no hats, right? We were on Zoom. Otherwise, pretty good student. She just had a yellow hat on. And the lesson was going forward, but in all the boxes, straight A student. This day, she just had a hat on. And she had some life stuff really going on, but she showed up in the classroom. And she said, I'm going to stop this class because somebody has a yellow hat on that they need to take off. And the student was like, I can't take it off. I'm in this public. She said, I'm in class and I'm in, she was in a public place trying to get some assistance. And she's like, I'm having a real bad day. I'm just having a bad day. And I said, I asked the teacher, I said, how much does that yellow hat bother you? Does it bother the way you see or the way you're going to teach? No, it's just, I said, look, sometimes this empathy, compassion has to come in place. The young lady just said she's having a tough day. She's already told her she's in the place she's trying to get help, whether that's for rent, utilities, or whatever. She's trying to get help. But guess what she did? She showed up in class. Mm-hmm. She's never given us any problem. She's a straight A student. Can we get a little grace? Mm-hmm. And I told her, if the yellow hat bothers you that much, you can clock out. And I'll take over the class. Because at this point, it's been 10, 15 minutes of you distracting everybody else because of a yellow hat. Well, you could have just said, I'm going to give you permission today to cut your camera off. That would have helped her so much more, than publicly, going at her about her hat. And she's repeatedly telling you, it's not a good day. It's not a good day. And she's trying to hold it together. You can hear her cracking, And I said, sometimes we just have to understand, we know that we're the teacher. They know that we're the teacher. We don't have to make boss moves all the time. Mm-hmm. They know we're the teacher. And so giving a little grace just to get the process going, and let me go back and revisit that student at a later time. And we're on virtual, so easily we could have dismissed her from the class, but she went through all of that and she's still here. So she don't want to be out of class. You could have asked her to cut her light off, cut her camera off. And so a lot of times, if we wear our feelings on our sleeve, it's going to stop us from teaching. It's going to be a barrier, and we're not going to give them everything we got. And so the objective is to give them everything we got. I want to go home empty every day, because the students are not our competitors. But remember, we became educators to help, to teach, to learn, to forward our beauty industry. And so I always say, if you're easily irritated, it's gonna be a tough time for you. It's gonna be a tough time, because we can't control what people, we can't control them at all, but we can put the control back in their hand, and we can follow our policies. And when we follow our policies, doing our due diligence, respectfully, if we have to drop a student, it's no problem, because everybody understands that when you break the rules, this is what happens. But the goal is not to fail students, but the goal is for them to pass. But somewhere in there has to be some grace. There has to be some, you ain't got to feel sorry for everybody, but that's where that passion comes in. They're trying, and you can see people who are trying. And when people who are trying to do better, and you understand where they come from, and they're trying to get to a place they've never been to before, man, that person deserves a little grace, especially when we don't have financial aid. And so they're paying out of their pocket. And in this day and age, they're trying to make it. So, yeah, they deserve a little grace. And so a lot of times educators need to do self-evaluations to say, okay, whew, could that really be handled a different way? Because I've had to do that in my 20-something years, 24, 25 years of teaching. I've had to have several self-evaluations. I could have did that better. I could have did this. Huh?
I said, so let me ask you something. Is the hat a rule? Is that something that we have to enforce? The hat, no hats?
One thing that we have in school is backstage and front stage. Backstage, you get it together. They shouldn't have any hats on. No, not someone hats, bonnets.
Okay.
No bonnets, no house shoes, and particularly no UGG boots. I'm waiting on you to ask why.
Yeah,
no UGG boots.
Wait, in the winter we can't wear UGG. Oh Lord, I love my UGG.
Because I used to teach at a college, and the uniform pants, and they used to come in with the UGG boots. And when I tell you, it just irritated me. They wouldn't clean. They would slide across the floor, and one pants leg in, one pants leg out, just slouchy. And I didn't see that as a great representation of the industry.
Okay.
So I said, when I get my school, one thing when we were going over uniform policy, I made sure I put in here no.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so can we do professional every day except Friday? Do you have an option on doing it, or it just strictly should not even come into play? We should keep them on one level field, and you need to be a certain way all the time.
Well, that they can wear their t-shirts if they don't want to wear their scrub. Everybody has a DCI t-shirt if they don't want to wear their scrub. We can't do see-through leggings, and they don't really do jeans. So any black bottoms, they do get a scrub outfit. They do get black bottoms, but any black bottoms, no see-through leggings. I'm about to add Crocs to the list, but I haven't yet. But when we go to different events and do spa days, because we do that, they need to be in proper uniform.
Gotcha.
And my school is it's very non-traditional. I look at when I was employed by other institutions, what were the barriers between that easy things that could have been solved that causes issues with students and staff. And a lot of time it was uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And either the school did not present a proper uniform or did not explain it, or everybody had their own interpretation of it. And so I said, oh, we're gonna have a uniform policy, you know? And the alternate is the t-shirt. And then now I'm looking at getting some jackets because it's getting cooler. Maybe the puff vest,
Mm-hmm.
that may be cool. But making it fun. And so learning is of the utmost importance. And as long as they got that shirt on, I'm good.
Okay. Because that was
Um,
finna be my next question. I only got a top because of the instructor thing. So I can't wear jeans as bottoms.
oh yeah, you can wear
Okay.
whatever you want to wear as bottoms. You're an instructor. You've earned it.
Okay.
Yeah, the instructors just got to have that top on or that t-shirt.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm excited about it. I probably need to get some more items embroidered, like jackets and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have the instructors a jacket soon. So just go over to the uniform store. But uniform was one of those barriers that I saw. I said, so let's eliminate the barriers. Cosmetology school is supposed to be fun.
Right.
We're supposed to have a good time while we're learning. And so the things that caused issues, I identified those things and I said, we're not going to do that. My school is not going to be a carbon copy of this. We're not going to do that. And so far we haven't done that. But do I have to always? I think you always have to have a hygiene sanitation issue, a conversation, just simply because, people can get comfortable and stop, thinking that they're around people. So we always got to check smells and be honest about it. We got to check a whole lot of stuff. So at the end of the day, I say backstage, before you touch a client, go make sure backstage is straight and they know what backstage is. And with some new students, where our graduates knew, but I probably need to discuss it with my new students. Backstage is making sure your hygiene is well. Do you need some deodorant? Do you need some wipes? Do you need soap? Do you need toothpaste? Do you need floss? Because you're going to the stage, and to the stage means you're about to get ready to service a client. And you're going to be in someone offer you some gum, take it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, that kind of stuff they didn't teach. It's just common sense stuff. But they did go over that with us when we were in school. You know what I'm saying?
And now that goes back to professional image. So the young lady, we have a young lady who has an amazing presentation on, but sometimes she can be comfortable and come in with her hair undone. Not to say it has to be fixed all the time, but you need a rubber band. You need to lay it down. It shouldn't look like you just got up out the bed.
Right. Some effort to it.
Yeah, some effort. And I'm not even tripping about makeup, even though estheticians, our biggest thing is skin. Make sure, that's why I'm so prone. If I see something going on with their skin, you need to lay down and get a service. Since you are an esthetician, your skin has to be better than what it is, huh?
I said another question that I had. I know you were saying that they break up the 750 hours for theory, and then they have to do the practical. Okay, so once they
for Cosmo,
for cosmetology. So is that all that will be over, or once they do, we come back and then we teach them the other part, the practical part as well?
So with Tennessee, we have adopted the apprenticeship program. Tennessee apprenticeship is different from other states. What happens, the school administered the 750 hours theory lecture. The state they don't have any mandate that we have to teach them any hands-on training. Okay. But because we value who we are, I got to teach you something. I can't let you go into anybody's shop and then not even know how to drape, not how to part, not how to section, not how to shampoo. Gotcha. So we have put a day, yes, they are virtual learners, but we have a day you come in the building And we're going to make sure we build some skills, hands-on skills when you come in the building. Okay. And so they will finish that 750 hours with a few hands-on skills, enough to get them, into a salon. And then they have all of their lecture. And so they take first the theory exam. Once you pass the theory exam, then they'll go into part 2 of apprenticeship, which means they need to go into not go into, they need to have a sponsor, and this is a supervisor. This person has at least 10 years experience, licensed beauty professional.
Now, are we providing that, or they get to choose?
Sometimes I already have sponsors ready for them, but sometimes students already have their own sponsors. They're just people who are just waiting on them to come get through with school. Okay. And so if the student finds somebody, I want them to be comfortable where they're going. So sometimes where I choose, you might have to do an interview process, and maybe the times won't work. But even if the student doesn't have anybody, it's been very easy for us to get cosmetology apprenticeship locations, because there's more cosmetology people that in the industry that has over 10 years or more than you have estheticians.
But they have to be willing to show them, you know what I'm saying? Or is it just something that's become part of the shop environment now? Because they know
what happens, I don't put them anywhere that someone's not going to follow our lead. Okay. And so we don't leave the student. Once the student says, okay, this is my supervisor, they sign an agreement. Once we get the agreement signed, then the student can start clocking hours. They'll sign in and clock hours at this salon. And if the salon has 5 people over 10 years, look, every person can get a student. Okay. So it's not one per salon, it's one per licensed supervisor. Okay. So what happens, the students can glean sanitation, shampooing, because there's no license required for shampooing. They can start in shampooing and sanitation. They are there to glean. Right. And they are there to practice as well. So, because they should have a station. Okay. And so they're there to practice. And with them being there to practice, you can choose to say, okay, I need your help with this. I need your help with that. We have had a lot of success with commission salons. Okay. Because commission salons are like, yes, I'll take somebody, because there's more people we can get in if we got more hands, more bodies. And we tend to see, nor DCI Academy, we don't negotiate pay rates. Like, honestly, there's no requirement to pay our students because the students are getting hours. Okay. So if someone wants to bless them with a tip, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. And then even if the owner says, I want to give you a percentage that is classified as a tip, that's amazing. Because, when they service clients, those tips become gas money and everything. So it's a plus on top of getting my hours. It's an absolute plus if they get a tip. Right. But what I found is we go in and check on them every other week. Okay. And then we receive their hours from that supervisor at the end of the month. And then we would, file things accordingly. Okay. What happens also is at the time that they are in the salon with their supervisor, we may say every 2 weeks come into the school. Come back on a Wednesday, come back on a Tuesday, because I want to, what they're not giving you, I want to make sure you're still getting. Okay. And so I will also pick up the responsibility of making sure between this supervisor and myself that we're giving them everything they're supposed to have. Gotcha. And then it's also a accelerated course too. So the individual has to have a mindset of, I can't wait on anybody. I got to learn. I got to get it. you know? So it's not for the individuals who don't have that mindset, you know?
Right.
And so it's just something that's developed and it's attracted to some people, and then some people it's not attracted to them.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like at the end, when they've completed their other 750 hours, we bring them back in and we prep them for the second part of the test, or is there something
Yes, I prep them for state board prep, and a lot of times while they're over in the practical and I have them come in, we're going over to state board prep.
Okay. Now, do you already make arrangement with salons that do that? Do I need to start making relationship with people that I may plan to put people with, or will I have options like printed out, like, hey, this salon need these and that, or they usually would take certain amount of people? Is there like a list that would?
It's totally up to you. Like the state does not orchestrate how you operate the business, but you have to figure out if I know I need these people to my students to go into a place, and that's pretty much your marketing plan. Do you have friends that have 10 years, or you can start creating whatever list or however you get it. It is totally that part is
like,
business.
Okay,
Totally
we normally use these people. Like this is, you know what I'm saying? Like most schools that come out go this route. It's no like kind of like uncharted path that you can kind of take if you don't have like people that you can reach out to do that.
It is uncharted.
Okay.
We have had to cultivate our own practices because not a lot of schools offered the apprenticeship. No one really knew how to go, so you had to create your own thing. And it's all about relationship.
Gotcha.
So I give you this tip here. You may have to put your boots on the ground.
Okay.
Which means walking into some salons, letting them know what you have and who's able, or you may have to sponsor a dinner.
Gotcha.
Or you may have to take a couple of people to lunch, you know?
Yeah. I know how to do it. I just wondering what path is there like a list that maybe if I didn't do it that way, is it something that since they separated like that it seemed like they would have like
nope.
some type of option, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause otherwise I could just leave them here and I could train them, you know what I'm saying?
None whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, what you see on the state law is what you get. Okay. Now, you don't have to do apprenticeship. You can still do 1,500 straight through.
Okay.
If that's what you want, and you don't have to find anybody for them.
What if I don't feel comfortable with the people that I'm finding? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, I see that she'll probably want to work them because she needs a shampoo tech, but I can't see her really actively teaching them the stuff that they need. You know what I'm saying?
Don't sign off on it.
Okay.
I would say create you a directory, you know, and as a student finish, check off, let them take 3 people and go to an interview. Ask the student which one best fits them, and then you can ask those individuals what they think of the student and kind of way you find the best fit.
Gotcha.
If you choose to do apprenticeship.
Okay.
You know,
I don't choose to do apprenticeship. I'm gonna have a bigger office than you, right? Because they gotta have a practical room.
No.
They can do
that room is a bonus.
Okay, well,
the apprenticeship doesn't require any kind of practice. The apprenticeship does not require, and we're going to move back, but the apprenticeship does not require in Tennessee you to have any practical space for CASA, just lecture. So the classroom is the only requirement.
Okay. Now, when they do a client, where would they shampoo?
They don't.
Okay.
They don't do clients because remember the first part is not anything practical.
Gotcha.
When you see our students come in for practical, that's because we're giving them bonus. We're preparing them. The practical doesn't come to the salon until the salon portion.
Gotcha.
And they should have a station in that salon.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything everything is bonus at DCI because we have, you just don't want to send anybody out halfway.
Right.
And we don't So we have a space for them, and the trendy things we practice with them because we want them to go into their place at least with some skills.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever they're not learning, we're responsible for also giving them. So they have their own place with us.
Okay.
But really, yeah. And that's pretty much just looking at the state law and getting a good understanding of it and going forward.
Okay.
But going back to the profile for master educator, you look at professional image. And so even for us setting a presentation, like I've never been a big makeup person, but I do wear makeup for one, just for the professional image.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love a red lip. So you're gonna see me in a red lip a lot. And I do a little bit because you got to know that they're watching you. The
Right.
same thing you require of them, they're requiring of you. Okay. So and I have discovered in my 40s that I need a stylist because even me working on stages, our uniform has always been black, professional, glam black. And so when it's time for me to wear another color, I look in my closet, I ain't got number black. And so now I'm stepping out and wearing different colors. And for the first time in my life, pink has been amazing. And so that's why our students have different colors scrubs. So we have blue, black, green, white, every color, purple, every color represents a different subject that we teach. And so I'm loving this walkthrough of color. And so incorporating that into the classroom, trendy styles, of course, keeping your face clean and things of that nature, because I have seen instructors that are dealing with different emotional imbalances, depression, things of that nature, anxiety, and they could come in and they shift their own classrooms by the way they look.
Yeah.
What their attitude that they bring into the classroom, and whatever you bring in, that's what's going to set the tone in the classroom. That educators, you are the shift. So if they see you putting a little more effort in your professional image, they're going to also put a little bit more effort in theirs. Courtesy, compassion, and consistency. Because we deal with people in all walks of life, at any time, we have to make sure that we are giving courtesy. That's that grace. There's compassion, and there's consistency. And I know is I know, and our yes is our yes, but you don't have to say it really loud. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to let everybody know that you're the boss. Mm-hmm. It's that professionalism. So our soft skills, we have to build soft skills as well, because we are not teaching children.
Right.
Even though Zoe is 17, she's completed a lot of things that some people have not. And so I have to now treat her and speak to her, not at her, as if she was an adult, because she's in an adult establishment. Mm-hmm. And something that helps them mature and grow up as well. And then you have someone 40, 50 years old. I'm not going to talk to them like a kid, because that may create a barrier between them learning and us communicating. And so just having the consistency and building our own soft skills and learning our own character and being able to present that in a very professional manner. So those are the profile of a master educator. Acceptance of colleague advice. Here's the thing, no one is perfect. We're all figuring it out. Okay. And for myself, I have figured out what works for me. And I tell people, this worked for me. And Miss Candace figured out what works for her. All right. So it says, when a group of talented and committed individuals come together and brainstorm about important issues, the results will be astounding. Scheduling a retreat now. We have a group. We're educators. We travel and teach, and the group is called Favor Unit. I don't know where they get that from, but I went on here with it. Favor Unit, and so I'm with it. And so we will meet up in different cities and say, okay, what do you see coming up on the West Coast? What do you see coming up on the East Coast? Okay, I'm in the South. This is what they got going on. I'm in the North. I'm in the Midwest. We'll get together and compare what do we see, and then we'll say, okay, I don't know how to do that. Can you show me how to do that? So we'll get together and teach each other. And that's the collective that that I like to be a part of. And then we have another group called Historical Black Beauty Schools Owners. And that's a group that I founded. And what happens, we're getting ready to do a retreat, and the school owners will get together and we'll strategize for the first 6 months of the year. So we'll put in plan, this is what we're going to do in January, February, March. And so for those individuals that don't have anyone to share with, pretty much we'll come up with a game plan. We'll become a network. Okay. And so, and most of us at this point, if someone is doing something wrong or someone is doing something that's hurting their program, we just have to tell you, you know what, you could have said that better. That's causing an issue. We got to do better. And that other person could say, you know what, I felt that. You know what, thank you for bringing that to my attention. How would I do this? And we'll strategize and say, okay, this is what we'll do. When that situation comes up and anybody have that situation, this is what'll come up. And we have Zooms to discuss stuff like that all the time. And so being able to receive and saying, okay, I'm going to take in, and then if I can use any of the information or any of the recommendation, I'm going to put it into play. And that's simply what it is. Be receptive to, guided by competent counsel from colleagues. And so a lot of times I am tough on my instructors that work for me. I am. Everybody is not going to be able to handle the type of program I run. It is not the type of program for someone who cannot adapt. It is not the type of program for someone who does not want to know more about technology. It is not the type of program that can deal with younger people. Okay, so I can't have someone that don't like 20-year-olds. Or because you hear it all the time, I don't know what these, I can't have someone that is not willing to change or adapt or have flexibility. That's just not where the world is going, and that's not where our program is going. And so the program seems to be very different, and it is student focused and not necessarily educator focused. Now, I'm going to make sure the educators have everything they need to make it happen, but I also need the educators to relate to the audience. And the audience are the ones that are paying to go to school. So, and if they are into technology, we got to be just as much into it. I just did a Twitch account. Y'all know what a Twitch account is?
Yeah, I don't have one though. Like I don't have TikTok, even though I got IG and Facebook. I'm fool with TikTok.
Let me tell you, these young people have some skills on them, and I'm finna start turning my TikTok over to my young people. Because if that brings them and give them comfort in the classroom, I want to utilize that strength in them. Because if that keeps them connected to class, it keeps them connected, that's where I'm gonna put the information. So and even tonight, we got state board prep tonight. It's not mandatory, but it is state board prep. You got to give it to them. Everybody can't be in the building at the same time. And so with state board prep, I may do 30 minutes of last state board prep, then 30 minutes of aesthetics, 30 minutes of Cosmo, 30 minutes of instructor training, 30 minutes of nails. Guess what? Everybody was able to get something.
Okay.
And it's not mandatory, but it's available.
Right.
It's available. And so I'm just I just look ahead. I'm receptive. I always ask students. Last night, I'm always looking at how someone learns because I'm saying, hey, I may have taught this subject 3 months ago to another group, and I didn't have to do all that. But this is a different group. They learn different. So I got to go a little further. And so we're not able to take just a carbon copy and keep doing the same thing over and over. We're going to miss somebody.
Gotcha.
And so that is just being receptive because somebody has been there before you. Okay. The P's and Q's of event control. And I use this when it comes to introducing a new lesson and when it comes to closing out a lesson and field trips. The plan, what's our priority, the peak time. So you know the time of day where you have all of them together, and you know the time of day where their brain cells can go to sleep. After lunch, I'm not giving a test after lunch. I'm either give a test in the morning or I will give them a test in the afternoon. The reason I would give them a test in the afternoon, because after lunch, let's go into study or game or something. Let's go into a game. Then after that game of review, then let's go into test. Okay. You know, or I may say, let's go into the morning. Let's go rapidly into a game, and then I go into test. Because you got some morning people and you don't have morning people, you know? So I don't want nagginess and things like that or intentionally coming late because they know the test is the first thing in the morning. We deal a lot with procrastination, practice, and perfection. All right. And so sometimes I have to say, it's not going to get perfect. It's never going to get perfect, but you're going to get better. Okay, you're never going to get perfect, but you're going to get better, and we're all learning. So try to find a place that we all can relate. There's questions, there's quality, there's quantity, there's quirks, the little things we need to work out. There's quiet time, and then there's quit, and there's no quitting. Okay. And so a lot of times we will sidebar and have to do a little motivation spiel and then bring it back all the way back around. And so to utilize, identify where their perks are, those areas that they need to keep going. The self-confidence boosters. And here's the thing with educators, we have to be in a place where we're like, okay, we can do this. And sometimes you got to have something that motivates you. Mine could be music. Mine could be affirmations. It could be color. Colors can brighten your day or dull your day. It depends. And so, however you decorate your classroom, always add a little color, at least some yellow or and I have a gold frame in the classroom. The chalkboard brightens my day because I can use different color chalk. And that is a confidence boost because I see what I want in my brain. I put it on the board. And I'm really just writing on the walls like a kid. So self-confidence builders, like and accept yourself. Unconditionally be clear about your own values. Be true to yourself. Never compromise your integrity. Enjoy your uniqueness and practice self-control and work step by step toward desired goals. And so even though you're teaching, it is not the end goal. It should be another goal after that. Okay. And if we look at ethics and character, I just posted up ethics oath for educators, you know, as far as respectfully we committing to teach and to still build character and follow great ethics in the classroom and things of that nature. So we'll put that in your hands tomorrow. And become a change master. It says rather than a change resistor, go the extra mile and don't fall into the it's not my job pit. And when someone says it's not my job, I'm just like, okay, well, this is a team. I don't know what is your job, but this is a team atmosphere. And so you're probably not team oriented if you say, well, this is not my job. Okay. Because as a teacher, even though we have this classroom, but we have an overall responsibility that this is not Miss Cox's school. This is everybody's school. So the students, this is their school also. And my educators, this is your school also. And so we collectively come together and everybody makes a part of whatever established. It could be your school. I wouldn't come work for you and say, that's not my job. I said, well, it got to get done. And so we can either work together and get it done, or it's not going to get done at all. All right. And so those are some components. Stumbling blocks. I just want to look at some stumbling blocks that we may have in the classroom: selfishness, dishonesty, and unreliability. The students are looking for you to be there and you're not there. Hostility, in which that really could take the atmosphere of the classroom 0 to 100 real quick. Suspicion, interference, laziness, untidiness, controversy. We have to be careful not to cross over into the friend barrier of students, even though we're being kind, we have niceties, but we still cannot cross the line. Crossing the line from, I don't care if a student is your same age, they're still, I don't care if you grew up together, you've been knowing this person for years and years and years, there's still a line that we don't cross. And crossing the line, just my experience of having a coworker, and we did a business partnership together, and the coworker was very, very friendly with the students, so they knew a lot of her intimate business. And I really felt uncomfortable talking to the coworker because it just felt like what I used to be able to share with my friend, my coworker, I can't anymore because the line has been crossed. I don't know if this is being shared with my students, and so that brings a wedge between the team. But I just knew certain things I just could not share with this person because this person is very, very friendly, too friendly with the students. And then when you have to reprimand the students are like, what? They don't see you as an authority figure anymore. They see you as the friend. And so I always tell my students, even when I work for other companies, especially I work for Battle Rock Career College, and number one, they didn't know how old I was because I find out in telling students how old I was, and I was sometimes younger than my students. They felt like they didn't, I didn't have a right to teach them. Whereas all my life I had been studying cosmetology, and I started teaching on a dare at 18 years old. And I had been prepped and pruned for cosmetology since I was 14. And I've read textbooks back to back to back, And so a lot of times people cannot take someone younger accomplishing the goals that they want one day. And so I stopped telling my age. And I just said, just guess. Just guess. And it became a guessing game. And I said, no, I never would confirm or deny anything. It just kept it going. And it took that age factor out. And so now you are here because you understand the knowledge that I have to bring. And I would not follow them on social media or anything of that nature. I think that's because I had strong mentors that, kept it strictly enforced. And as a school owner, it's kind of different, but I don't share personal with my students. And none of them knew of my career traveling and teaching unless somebody told them, unless a client came in, and I do have a client that comes in and she'll say, man, do you know who your teacher really is? And I'm just like, no, they don't. And please don't say anything.
Right.
Yeah. And they start Googling. I'm like, look, it's because we didn't even know. Now everybody got a hair color question. No, no, that person is not here. Your teacher, Miss D, is here. Okay, so that person is not here. And then it said, my mama said you taught her. And so we'll have those little moments, but still, people still don't even know how old I am. And I like it like that. Until, I just started to share maybe when I got to school how old I was. But it was even a problem. And when I became director of the school at like 30, 31, oh, it was a major problem because of age, they thought, but my resume had been building since I was 18 years old. It was an incredible resume. So I got the job. I think your experience speaks for itself. That's for anybody, not your age. And definitely, you got 10-year-olds making $1 million
Right.
on YouTube, so we got to catch up.
Or a video game.
A video game. And that's why I got a Twitch account.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they can do that off of video games, I can do it off of education.
Yeah, they making multiple millions of video games, streaming and stuff.
So I said, I'm learning from them every day. Every day. So I try to learn something from my students every day. So these building blocks, these barriers, man, we want to tear that down. And so anytime I hear like sidebar conversation, I like to shut it down. Not to be rude, but educators got to find a way to bring it back around. And I have one particular student who's just learning life, So she's asking questions. She's just learning life. That's all it is. She's just learning life. And a lot of things you would think that will be taught to you at home, they're not really taught these days. And so when they come into establishments like ours and see motherly figures, and there's no mother because everybody came in separately, but you see older individuals who don't know you just become a little safer in your conversation. And I understand that, but sometimes we have to bring it all the way back around. Okay, give you a moment, but let's come back around. Let's get back into the subject. And so as educators, we can't come in, and this is what I'm gonna say, we can't come in wanting friendship or wanting them to like us. Okay. Naturally, I think that they just feel your spirit, feel your energy. And if you want to be there, it's going to show that you want to be there. And if you really have value to give them, oh, you're going to have their undivided attention. Okay. And poor communications, a lot of times, this is professional development. If you can't communicate with friendships and in marriages and in business partnerships, you're not going to be able to communicate well in the classroom. So communication is something that we always work on, because you say, you know what, could I have said that better? Or what we give situations. What would you do in this situation? And that's why it's always good to have a coworker, that even someone who's been seasoned, to go to and say, hey, what would you do in this situation? This happened, or if this happens, that happened, what do you suggest I would do? And that's always good to have somebody that you can glean from. And of course, rudeness never rules. Rudeness never rules, okay? And so you can look at the difference between stumbling blocks and steps. But man, I try to always keep it on the stair step, because I'm a little too old to be worried about what's going on in the classroom. I'm here to learn. This is absolutely a gift from God, and I'm here to share. And so I want to see my students do better and go further than where I am. And so I want all stair steps. It may not be like that every day. I've had to politely put somebody out a couple of weeks ago and still smile about it. So it happens, but you have to control that piece, and sometimes it comes directly from us. All right, so let's go into 2, and I'm gonna see what our time is. Okay, so we're doing good. So I want you to finish reading one, and I'm going to send you a study guide with questions to answer chapter 1 and chapter 2 together, okay?
Okay.
And we'll work on that for this week. But chapter 2 is the teaching plan and learning environment. Because this course is an accelerated course, we'll probably see 1 to 2 chapters a week, okay? And then we'll also, midways, we'll have stable or prep, things of that nature. So I'm excited about it. The critical concept: master educators know things that begin well are more likely to end well. Thus, they will plan carefully and for the learning experience to begin well. The planning. This is what we have to do. When we're in the classroom, on the board, I usually have assignments, things that we want to knock off our list for today. I'd rather have more assignments than none at all, because the students should always not be busy, but productively busy. So there's always something to be done. There's nothing for somebody to just be hanging around saying, what are we doing today? So it's always something that can be done, and you can plan accordingly. So you got your binder, you got your study, your lesson plans. We're going to start early on working it out. So tomorrow we may take a few minutes. While the students are prepping, is just to go over a mock lesson plan, okay?
Okay.
So we'll go over a mock lesson plan because we want to start early. And the master educator prepares and organizes prior to the actual start of class. So yesterday, what I did, because I knew we were going to go over dermaplaning and go over extractions, yesterday Sunday I came in, cleaned up, and then I knew Monday I was coming in late, but I brought the fruit, I brought the towels, and we had all the tools they needed, so they didn't need to go around looking for anything. They didn't need to go borrow anything. I had the presentation and I had the remote. And so the tables were even set up, so when you come in tomorrow, you'll see how the tables were set up. And we worked together in a little huddle. And so that was me organizing and planning things together. And we're going to maintain current knowledge relevant to the field of study. We're going to develop organized work habits and when I say maintain current knowledge relevant, since we have social media and just say lace fronts are still very popular, extensions. As an educator, I'm going to go out to some classes, or I'm going to purchase some online seminars because I know my students are good at blank, blank, blank. I'm going to learn the same thing, if not more, so I can bring that to them. Presenting relevant information will keep the students hungry, and it'll keep their attention in the classroom. And so for me, knowing that they like dermaplaning, knowing that they like waxing, those are a lot of my hands-on training. And when I go to, I think I'm going out of town this weekend. I know I am. When I go to San Antonio this weekend, I am I'm doing some skincare classes, but I'm going to sit in some lash classes and some brow classes, because brow lamination, I've taught them that. Lash lift, I taught them that. Brow tinting, I taught them that. And so all of these are components that I want to continue to build my skills on, because I know all of those are very popular. And yesterday I went around to 2 spas just to get information, because I want to have those 2 spas as a partner to DCI, because I want my students, when they graduate, to have a place to go. Everybody's not going to go into a booth rent. Everybody's not going to go into a suite. But sometimes you got certain individuals that need to be under somebody, And I took their service menu and we sat there. And I said, what you thought a facial cost? The cheapest facial this lady has is $95. The cheapest. And learning, one of the most expensive services she had was lasering of the face, neck, show the area for $1,000.
Good night.
Yeah. So I told her, I said, you trying to learn waxing, babe, you need to be into lasering.
You hear me?
You know? And one of her facials, one of the cheapest hydro facial was $235. And so I'm telling him the $30, the $40 Brazilian wax I be seeing on Facebook, I said, ain't no way.
Yeah.
Ain't no heavenly way that I'm gonna receive $40 for an intimate area. That's an intimate area. I used to charge $100 in 2005 for a Brazilian wax. How do we move back to $40? I just don't understand. And I sometimes they need to hear what was to know where we're going, but they needed to see it on paper too. I said $30 is just a wellness B12 shot. You can't go into this spot and pay $30, $40. So when it comes to aesthetics, I'm trying to bring them in to where the industry has already been, and then you guys go up further from there. There's I don't know who you're competing with, but you got the game messed up. This is not a $30, $40 services. What you're learning here is not $30 and $40. Even in cosmetology, what you see is a trend. Lashes. I remember lash extensions. Miss Rosalind, Miss Green. I don't know about y'all, but mink lashes used to be $300, $400.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And
they were all individual. We didn't do the strips. We had to train on the individual lashes.
Yeah.
They put strips on there and be done.
And then with braids, I told them braids used to be so expensive. You took care of them.
Right.
You were used to paying $400 or $500 for micros, and they were real micros.
Right.
And this $60 and $80, I don't know what y'all doing.
Yeah, but that's what they think, because when they take the braids out, their hair coming out with them. They not getting no treatments. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you pay for what you get. So that's what I be trying to make clear. Like, you can go and get your $60 braid, but you won't get it here because, first of all, I'm going to treat your hair. I'm going to make sure your scalp is healthy. I'm going to make sure it's not too tight, all that. Show you what to do to keep it up. And so I need to be paid for my services because I know it's going to last. One, it's going to be the best quality. And I'm telling you how to take care of it. And your hair is going to be healthy when you're done. And that's my main focus.
We gotta make sure, but that comes from making sure we have current knowledge, that we're relevant. And so an educator that does not continue training is going to be a lost educator. You're going to lose them because you're not going to be able to bring anything to the table.
Now, one that I ain't, but even though I do sell wigs, I don't install them. And because for me, I'm just like, the glue and the stuff that lay it down, I'm totally against it because I haven't seen nobody that wear that stuff and it don't take some part of their edges out. So I'm more with a healthy hair, healthy scalp type person. But how much into that do I need to get? Do I need to start taking classes?
Here's the thing. I always have resources. I got somebody to do it.
Okay, because I
have relationships, so you may know someone that does it really well. You know what? Bring them in as a guest speaker. Bring them in as a guest speaker. It's a demo.
Right.
So I know a lot of people that do a lot of stuff I don't do. And when I get to that, I say, hey, I'm going to need you to come in and be a guest speaker, maybe do a demo for me. Okay. And they'll be like, okay. And so if I could give it to the student and I can educate it, I could talk about it, I can show them a video, and then I can bring somebody in. I'll cover that lesson.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And if it's something like, if you have a group, like for me, I've had a group at one time that all 10 of them were lash techs. Guess what I had to do? Go take me a lash class.
Okay.
I had to learn more about what they were already familiar with. Because I wanted to also build that trust that I knew what I was talking about.
Right. Because I know back lash is not just in depth.
Mm-hmm. And so when I go to trade shows, like major trade shows like Premiere, I say, well, there's 100 classes. I need to take at least one last class. I need to sit in there. I may not do it, but I need to hear the language. I
Gotcha.
need to hear the verbiage. It helps me relate to the students on what they do in their everyday life, you know? So I'm going to take more brow classes, like the tinting, what are they using? Because I know what I'm using is what I'm using outdated. That's what I'm, and if I can find a product that they have not seen or a company they have not seen, that's gold to me because I can bring it back, and it's something they don't know anything about. So now I'm adding more value to the classroom because I'm bringing in something new to them.
Okay.
And I always look for new, fresh stuff and try to just be ahead sometimes because they are always discovering, they're buying stuff. TikTok made me do it. But I am, when it comes to premium product and not always Amazon stuff,
Right.
you know? So I do that. But just staying relevant. Um, and I'm going to take a silk press class too because I have a new friend and he's considered the sick out king.
Okay.
And so I said, oh, since you the sick out king, I can learn something from you since you
Mm.
call yourself the king. And so when we go on our retreat, I told him, I said, yeah, I know how to do a silk press. And I don't even do silk presses anymore. This weekend I worked in a salon, but since he has a specialty, I want to learn his specialty because who knows if someone comes into the school and a student says, Miss Cuss, well, how you do that? I know how to do it.
Okay.
You know, I just know how to do it. Develop organized work habits to ensure that the administrative tasks such as record keeping and reports are completed accurately and timely. So one part of that I can show you tomorrow, one part of making sure on the administrative side is good. Yes, we're teaching, but it's that sanitation list. It's monitoring the sanitation. It's checking off the items from their practical list. And these are fairly new students, so I'm gonna reiterate for them to pull out their practical list tomorrow. So doing those checkoffs on the things that they're supposed to get done, and also checking the hours, making sure they've signed in. All of that is a part of the job too. You know, sometimes we get caught up in just the practical components, but the when they leave, we still got office work that need to be taken care of. But I try to manage it and keep everything minimum paper as possible. That's why we have the online forms. That's why they have the app to clock in on, and we can just go to our computer and boom. You saw one of our teachers creating lesson plans, so we can teach you how to do that tomorrow. Um, if we have a little time, we'll teach you how to do that tomorrow. And Miss Candace, she created 5 of her presentations because she didn't have any students. So she used her time wisely. She created 5 of them, you know? And in those 5, she was like, wow, here we go. You know, it's super amazing.
Mm.
Um, and then ensures the classroom is safe. You can walk around the classroom. How do we ensure it's safe? There's nothing on the floor that anybody could trip over. There's no sharp components. Um, the classroom looks like an easy flow when they come in. Can we walk around freely? Um, how does it look when you come in? You know, if there's obstacles where they got to go this way, then make a left and go around, then to get to the bathroom, they were like, hold on, what is this? I need a straight beeline to where the restroom is. That's a tip.
Okay.
Okay. I need a straight beeline to where the restroom is. If I'm a teacher, I like to walk around. Okay. Or if I have a small class, I pull up a seat and sit with them in the class. I have the iPad and I need to find the charger to the laptop, but I have the iPad and the iPad has presentations on it that mirrors on the TV. And so all the students could look at the TV and see what I see on my iPad. So we can go from videos to presentations, all that good stuff. So just, it's just amazing. Okay. Teacher organization and preparation. We're going to know our subject matter, which that goes back to not winging it. So if my thing in the industry has always been hair color, but I can do and talk about anything else. Sometimes I will, I can teach enough of manicure and pedicure to get them to whatever they want to go. I'm not a manicurist, but I can teach it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so just knowing your subject matter, what you're teaching. So I have this training called Help That's Not My Strength, and it's for instructors who don't have the strength in certain subjects.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I'm teaching that in November. And so if skincare is not your strength, just be committed to, hey, say when I go to a show, I'm gonna sit in a couple of skincare classes because I know I got that coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna sit in a couple of classes, or like Miss Candice has been doing. Miss C is skincare is not her thing, but I'm probably gonna need her help in skincare soon. So she's just learning while I'm teaching.
Yeah.
You know, and she sits in on the Zoom when I'm teaching on Thursday nights, and she's learning for herself because she knows one day she may have to take that class over, and she wants to be, you know, just as knowledgeable. And the one thing that students can lose faith in is you not knowing what you're talking about. Yeah. But knowing what you're talking about causes the classroom to shift, and they say, "Oh, she know what she's talking about. I'm gonna be there every day because I need to learn what she got in her head." But if they think you don't know what you're talking about, you're gonna lose the whole class. Okay. And current trends. So no, I don't do the wigs, but I kind of know if I had to put one on, I know how to do it.
I mean, like, I know how to put it on, but I don't agree with it. I don't think you need to use it.
But you know what? I also would tell them that opinion and have a whole discussion and, you know, basically bring it into the classroom. Let's discuss it because if you do it, are there any healthy options to this? Okay. And so we can look for healthy options and we can even do. And then we can look for pictures and all that. So if you do this, well, these are the options. This is what needs to stay intact. And if this is not intact, then that is something else going on. So I would definitely bring it into a classroom discussion and have some facts to push it, some pictures and things like that to push it. But like I told them, a lot of stuff I don't agree with, but I teach it. And then we can have discussion about it. And what I don't know, I'm going to bring somebody else in. That's the cool thing. I know people all over the world that can do stuff, even Spanish speaking. And I'm still needing to take some more Spanish, but being able to do something and teach it, and may not be your key spiel. Like I know, for instance, anatomy and physiology may not be somebody's strength. Right. All those big words and bones, but it's a strength of mine. And so if I know that a teacher, I say, hey, I know you got that coming up, but if you need me, let me know. Right. I can share some of my tips, and hair color may not be somebody's strength, but I can share some of my tips and you can utilize some of those in the classroom. I do it all the time. Okay. If you're on Facebook, I don't know if you are or not, but there's a group called My Lady Instructors, or I think instructors, cosmetology instructors. But in the group, they share different ways to teach different subjects. Okay. So that's something we have 20 years ago, you know? Yeah. So now you're a part of a whole network. You just tell them what subject you want, and everybody wants to share how they teach it. Okay. And you're like, man, look, I got all these different things. I ain't think about that. And the students don't even know that it's not your strength. Right. But you prepared, you know? You're building and you're prepared. The student body size for Tennessee, we don't do more than 20 in the classroom per teacher. But I like small class sizes because every student feels like they're getting something, you know? And even if I've had class sizes where there have been 20, 20 students max. And I've had to give them all a little bit. So when a practical come time, I try to spend a little time with all of them or put them in groups of 5. So you really have to think about it and be strategic on how am I going to give all of these students a little time. Planned activities, whether it's outside study guiding, whether it's field trips, scavenger hunts, plan it out and work the plan. And then identify materials and equipment, things that you need to make this class, this lesson successful. You need to make a list. Okay. And for me, I will sit back and make a list. Miss Candace will make me a list and I go get it. Okay. Because if she successfully teaches that class, I need to make sure she has what she needs to do that. And we both win on the other side because the student says, okay, all right, I learned that. But in order for them to learn that, they need to have the tools. And if we don't have the tools, I'm looking for the instructor to say, hey, I need this to teach this. And I know how it feels to work at a school where they didn't listen to me and I had to spend my own money. So what I need to do is I need to erase that barrier from my instructors and get what they need to make sure they can teach that class effectively. I mean, to the 100%. And that's something I strive for because I don't want to repeat the things that I seen in my past when I was a teacher. So I try to say, okay, with my school, my program, I want to change the things that could have easily been changed to keep the morale up and to boost my students' consistency, retention in the classroom, and to boost my educators, their confidence in teaching, knowing that they got everything they need. And it's never a problem if they need something for me as the owner to get it for them. Because if a student succeeds, we all win.
Right.
And so as we prepare to close, we're going to pick back up Thursday on chapter 2. And we're going to close out chapter 2. And we're going to go over 1 and 2 study guide this Thursday also, okay? So when we come on Thursday, we're going to go right back into chapter 2, and then we'll do a review after that. Tomorrow, Ms. Green, I don't know if you're still on, but tomorrow we'll be in the building. If you need to come see me, Ms. Green, need to go over any lesson plans or anything, I invite you to come in. If you want to just check out the classroom management component, I invite you to come in. It's going to be a good day tomorrow. So come on in tomorrow, you guys, and I'll see y'all. If y'all need anything besides then, give me a call. And until next time, y'all be blessed. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. See you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Great class.